Hey everyone, welcome to episode 8. Starting some framing. Last episode, you saw the sill detail in the field. You saw the pony walls going up. This episode, we're going to talk about a little bit more of the framing in the sense of the zip system going up mainly, and maybe get into some more details around the subfloor as well. If not, we'll get into that next episode. But for now, let's go into what our choice was. So we used Zip R, and we did R6.6, which is what their rating is for that sheathing. So that's what we chose. We'll go on the outside, we'll do cladding, rain screen, zip with the Zip R, and then on the inside, we'll go blown in insulation, which will put us at about R30. It's so pretty efficient given that we just added this R6 on the outside, which really helps with a bunch of things. The main being the insulation uptick. You don't have to really mess with your window detailing as much, given that it's built into the framing, so you don't have to worry about making a big buck if you have some other foaming outboard of that, which is nice. And it's pretty easy to install. It's a little heavier than regular plywood, but other than that, it was pretty good. Let me close this guy down. Then here's some pictures of us putting it up. Us, the team, not me. And you'll see that we are. You'll see the subfloor go into, but you'll see the zip there going in on the outside here, which is great. You'll see some subfloor going in. You'll see on this guy where it's going in around the garage, and then you'll start to see where the foam's exposed on the outside. That's just how we finished it. And then here you see where we're starting to consider what are the details around how we seal those nail holes. And this is just using Zip liquid flash to hit those nail holes and then strike that down. One thing that I did here was I started doing this to get ahead of the game while these guys were working on the zip around the house and the subfloor and the TJIs. I was going to start doing this, but then realized that the inspector's going to need to see those nails, make sure they're not overdriven, make sure that they're flush with the zip system, and make sure everything's okay. So we have a shear wall inspection next week scheduled. So we'll start once that happens. We'll be able to cinch up this zip system even tighter with this, liquid flash in these nails. We're gonna put a liquid flash around the base here, probably up to about 2 to 4 inches up here to help from any splashback of water getting underneath this foam. So walk through a little bit what else is going on. So we're using subfloor, 3/4 inch subfloor here, and you start to see the view, which is great. This is probably the worst angle. We'll get into a little bit more of those other angles, but this is 3/4 inch OSB. It's Edge Gold by Weyerhaeuser, and I think it's got a 200-day guarantee, so I think it can be exposed for 200 days. The framer swears by this guy, which they do an awesome job. He's been super helpful in both framing, but also helping in areas that aren't just production like framing. And I'll show you one of those in a little bit. But this is really just to show you the subfloor and that going up. So over here are the stairs from that first ground floor that come up to this floor. Let's keep going through here. Let's move some of these away. So this is another picture of the subfloor going up. You'll see here the glue they're putting down, and it's actually nailed down, not screwed. I don't know if that's just a personal preference or just when you're framing you got the nails in the gun, so it's easy just to do that. But they're doing glued and nailed here for the install. you see just another detail of that glue going on, and we're using the this OSI glue for that, for these details. And then you'll see in the joist hangers that there's also glue in there, and I'll show you that detail. So right here you start to see the glue in the detail here, and it's coming out. So they really put it in there to make sure that, to help with the squeaks. So let's talk a little bit more about some trouble that we ran into here. Let me tear through these. So this is just another shot of the view, what we're going to be getting from the vantage point, which is really nice, and you can start to see the mountains over there, and those are the Cascades. So that's facing east, and you see this is the if you remember from earlier parts of the video, that is the dining area, the extension, the cantilever. It's I think 3 or 4 feet. It's not that big. So that was put in why all these TGIs were going up. So let's talk about some of the other details that the crew there really helped with. And you'll see there's this crack in the foundation here. And the thought was that this is 2 different pours. So right here over was 1 pour, and this was another pour. This was another pour. So we get this crack in the foundation. And here's just another view from above. You start to see a little bit of cracks in the foundation there. And what the team did there was, and again, they didn't have to do this, but and the inspector is probably unlikely to require it, but it's nice that they were thinking about this. So because there's rebar in there, we have a ton of supports in there already that would unlikely cause any issues. But what they did was they put a beam over that area to counter any concerns that people may have, their engineering may have, the inspector may have. This is going to be covered anyway, so the engineers or the inspector is really not going to see this detail. And then there was another similar one on the other side of the house where it was probably 2 different pours as well, and they put another beam in there. So it's those little details that make the framing team here super helpful. They're not just doing what they're told to do. They're seeing where there could be potential issues or engineering concerns or inspection concerns, and they're amending those in a better way, so that to ensure that there's not any issues during that inspection. And I think that's it for this episode. Next episode, we'll talk about the framing that's going up on this floor. But before that, I did a little layout exercise to see what where there could be potential issues in the design. And then after that, we'll get into the truss set, which happened on Wednesday. So really cranking through this framing part of the build. We really need windows still. So I'll also get into that in another episode. There's just tons of options there too, but I will get into that at another time, and we'll connect in a couple episodes. Thanks, guys.